Pastor Jay here with a preview of what's coming our way this Sunday. So as you can see from the setting behind me, I am standing by a construction site right here in our community. And this honestly takes me back to my roots and back to my family of origin, because for those of you who know my story, you know that my dad was a construction superintendent. And so we literally lived all over the state. My dad would get a job every 3, 4, 5 years, and then we would move to that location till the job was done. So I grew up around the construction industry. So when I became a young adult, I put 2 and 2 together and realized, hey, my dad could get me a great job on his construction crew. And so I went to my dad and I said, Dad, is there any way you could get me a job on your construction crew? And he said, sure, son, I'd love to do that. And so he pulled some strings and got me on his construction crew for the summer when I was home from college. And so we made an agreement as we began this adventure together, and we mutually agreed that we would not call attention to the fact that I was his son. In fact, we would very deliberately have me fly under the radar. So during my time on the job, I'd call my dad by his first name. His name was Frank. Never called him Dad, and never purposely called attention to myself as his son. So literally one of the first weeks I was working on this construction site, I was working in a building not unlike the building behind me in this picture here, and I was using what was called a rotohammer, and I was breaking up some concrete with this tool. And I had been given some very defined lines to stay within, and I had been told in no uncertain terms by a very mean-looking big foreman, you stay within those lines. And so I had worked very carefully to stay in those lines, and as these things go, somehow the hammer jumped in my hands and I went outside those lines and I broke off a big chunk of concrete. And of course, at about this time, here comes the construction foreman around the corner, and he sees that. And let's just say he responded with a series of very colorful metaphors. In fact, they all were 4 letters. In fact, I heard some words I'd never even heard before, and I'd been around construction my entire life. But all that being said, he walked away very unhappy with me. But about 15 minutes later, he showed up again. And I stopped my work and I looked up at him, and he said, I have to ask you a question. And I said, okay. And then he asked me a question that I subsequently answered that literally changed every single relationship on that job site from that point forward. And it really was a defining moment for me. So what was that question? What made it so significant? Not just with what he asked, but with how I answered. Well, we hope that we get to see you on Sunday, because that's when we'll answer that. See you on Sunday at 10:45 for English service and 2 p.m. for our Spanish service. We're going to have a great time together.